Well, the fraud in Minnesota is for sure definitely funding terrorist organizations over in the Middle East. Because, I mean, billions of dollars, millions going overseas, literally through our own airports, and not a single person in TSA or any of those places decided to sit there and say anything or do anything. I'm pretty sure there are a few TSA agents who probably went to their higher ups and said, "Hey, this is a little odd." Because I know Nick Shirley ended up talking to a TSA person who worked for TSA at one point and was talking about how this was going on well before this. This has been going on since the 90s. Okay? Which is exactly why there's certain places and certain people that if you let them in, you should definitely probably keep an eye on them. Everyone else goes, "Oh well, that's against American values." For Americans, for people who come here, like from war-torn areas or places that aren't technically even a country, like Somalia, especially a pirate nation that has well known for funding terrorist organizations, it should have been kept an eye on. But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting
So,
one.
Senator Corn, let me just come back to you. I want to get a handle here on just the scale of the fraud in Minnesota. We talked about the dark money groups funding much of what's going on the ground, but let's just get a handle here on the scale of the fraud. You are a member, I want to get this right, of the legislative,
Funny
the
thing
office
is,
of the legislative auditor.
if you're a normal
So,
normal person
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and you don't pay 200 in taxes, they go after your ass.
Oversee the office of the legislative auditor. Okay, got it. So you got access to all of this information. Give me your best estimate based on the information.
With this,
you've
they
seen.
they cannot
How
justify
many of the
keeping taxing
agencies,
Americans
20 or
anymore.
so agencies, I think, in the state of Minnesota, public agencies, how many have rampant fraud?
All of them are wrapped up in some sort that can issue. There's 20 primary state agencies in state law.
With failing bridges and schools and everything else. No justification in taxes anymore.
Grants and funding from all 10 agencies.
If you had to put a number on it, based on what you've seen, your work, your investigations, the audits that you've seen, what do you think the total losses are to Minnesotans in terms of fraud?
I think the conservative number is what our federal investigators have determined of just the 14 Medicaid programs, that half of all of it would be about $9 billion. And I don't think that's...
And you can guarantee a quarter of that has gone overseas into terrorist organizations. Look how quickly Somalia has went from being a dirtball territory to what it is now.
Of each one of them, they're unable to prove that the dollars were actually have gone to the programs in which they're indicated.
Which is crazy.
$9 billion.
You think millions of dollars would have been kept an eye on, right?
For overseas.
Well, I arrived in 2017. The Child Care Assistance Program fraud, for which the program, I believe, is $130 million. The whistleblowers showed us that they believe $100 million of that was fraudulent. We had a whistleblower come forward, actually publicly, and at that time we also discovered something new to me, which is the Hawala process of the movement of cash through our airports in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And what I've learned,
which is amazing considering a TSA agent or ex-TSA agent has said this has been going on since like the early 2000s.
I've learned that.
Tell us how that worked. $100 million.
And this is in Minnesota I'm referring to.
Suitcases, back then it was $1 million out of crack. And so I've learned that in the year before it was about $74 million. Secretary Besant I've tried for 2.5 years to get that number because I wanted to get a view of how many excess dollars are sent out from the program, from the community that's sending them. And in the last 2 years, it's $340 million.
And we're not going to get that money back at all.
If you look at it, it's about a 25% increase over this period from 2017.
All the people who were part of this, kick him out of the country. All the Americans who were part of it, hit him with treason charges. Supporting terrorist organizations.
$6 to $7 million of cash.
Doesn't matter if they were unaware. Giving money to like Middle Eastern countries should have been well aware of that.
And has done nothing to look at it, but that's just all but about 130 million, I think, is originated out of Minnesota.
But what every American taxpayer absolutely understands is their federal tax money being taken on suitcases out of this.
No more taxation. Taxation's theft.
If that's not infuriating, I don't know what is. And the fact that it is systemic in Minnesota, and probably to your testimony, Mr. Tucko, probably systemic in a lot of other places.
California.
millions of dollars in suitcases out of an airport, and that's just one means.
Washington,
This money.
Oregon.
I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I want to come back to you, Mr. Talkov. You testified.
I think Virginia, where that one governor passed a law decriminalizing fucking violent offenses. So good luck, ladies in that state.
We know where it's gone in some other states. California gave away billions of dollars to a pro-Hamas NGO.
Arrest them.
Where's this money going to?
I appreciate that question.
Terrorists.
Most people don't ask that question. It goes to
because they don't want to be called a racist.
It goes to child trafficking.
Exactly.
It goes to drugs.
All these people are funding these things.
And then it's used to purchase luxury items, cars, purses, homes. That's all funded by people like me that pay taxes.
So it's
which is why taxation should be stopped.
Who goes to work every day and clocks in and works his butt off and tries to earn just enough to be able to, make his rent. Maybe
not even.
His tax money.
You're choosing on what you're paying, and then you're falling behind on something. Almost 90% of America.
Terrorism, child trafficking.
Yes, sir.
$1 trillion a year.
That's how fucking disconnected these senators and governors are.
$115 million an hour. How do they get their hands on it? What are we talking about?
$150 million an hour?
Criminal networks. How do they get their hands on this money?
They take advantage of antiquated government systems and processes. They go into programs that they know elected and appointed officials.
And people like me who are hurt and can't go to work, can't get
scale.
anything, can't get any help.
Really
Nothing. Our GoFundMe's get fucking ignored.
Loans and the unemployment insurance, they learned a really valuable lesson. Government never runs out of money, and the probability of getting caught is virtually zero.
Especially if they don't live in the country.
Of 1%.
So come back to the recommendations that you mentioned in your opening statement. What do we need to do to put a stop to this hemorrhaging of people's hard-earned money going overseas to finance child trafficking and luxury yachts? I mean, what needs to happen here?
It's really simple. It's used every single day in the commercial sector. Front-end identity verification. You just don't get to say, I am who I say I am. Second, recertification of all the recipients. There is so much fraud right now in the benefit programs all across the country. We need to get a baseline. Third,
Yeah, and as an American, it's funny. You have to jump through hoops to prove who you are, but you can be a brown or black person from a whole other country, and you can get what the fuck ever you want. Home loans, business loans, shit like that. And they wonder why Americans can't afford a house. Selling fucking farmland to China and shit. I did a video on that years ago, and all of a sudden big YouTubers are talking about it. They get clicks and views like no tomorrow. So, yeah. Our tax dollars are funding terrorism, hate towards us and our way of life. We need to cut off taxes. Period. IRS needs to go. No more taxing. The only thing we need to go back to is tariffing anything and everything that leaves our country and comes into our country. Period. That's how our country was ran. That's how we should be ran now. Period. We, the people, should not have our hard-earned money taken from us while lazy fucks like that get to sit on their ass and go, oh, well, sorry, it's in a whole other country, so there's nothing we can do. Bullshit. Bullshit. There is something you can do, but you just don't want to say it because you don't want to be viewed as a racist. Fuck that. We're America, and this is Americans. We're pissed. So, vote these people out and tell them that we want our tax dollars back. Eliminate taxation. State tax, income tax, all that shit. It's our money. Our money. Not their money. They ain't using it for what they're supposed to be using it for. Cut that shit the fuck off. Ridiculous. So much freaking pain. So annoyed by all of this crap. And yet these people can just get away with anything and everything they want. Insane.